Thanksgiving. Did it start? I'm going to start again.
Okay.
Hello. Hello and happy day after Thanksgiving or Thanksgiving. I might release this tomorrow. I don't know.
Yeah, sure.
Woo. I hope that you guys are having fun with your families and you don't want to kill them yet.
And if you're not, congratulations for sneaking away to listen to this.
Oh man. I love my family and we're hosting and it's going to be really fun, but also I don't do any of the cooking, so I mostly just hover and am like I'm hosting but not doing anything, but I'm hosting. So, I do have to build a bunch of chairs tomorrow. So that'll
Oh,
be my
well, at least you can do
project.
that.
Don't have to base turkey, but I do have to build a chair.
I mean, that's fine. I feel like of those two things, you excel more at building chairs than making a turkey.
That is true. I've made a turkey before. It wasn't terrible, it wasn't great, but I know how to build a fucking chair.
Yeah, you can build a fucking chair. I know that for a fact.
What are you doing for Thanksgiving?
Michael and I are going to White Eagle, the place that we got married. That's why we picked the place that we got married, because it's
Oh
where his
yeah.
family goes for Thanksgiving and Easter and dinner and Christmas dinner every year. So our Thanksgiving dinner is at 2 p.m. because it's a fucking old person's house, basically. But his aunt already messaged me and was like, "Hi, super excited to see you guys. We'll be bringing wine." I was like, "Okay, Kathy,
Wait,
awesome."
is it dry at White Eagle on Thanksgiving?
No, I think what she means is like, I'm gonna be the one that is providing the wine once we get there. Like, I will go buy wine for us. Like, cool,
Oh.
Kathy. Awesome. You know where my heart's at.
Yeah, we got wine and I'm making some cranberry like smash or cranberry bourbon smash cocktails, so we'll be good.
That'll be good. Yeah. Yeah, and I think Andrew is gonna come over after. He used to work like all day on Thanksgiving, and he we were hanging out, and I was like, "Do you want to come over afterwards? We can like smoke a bowl, and you can just sit if you want." And he was like, "That'd be really nice, thanks."
That's nice of you.
It's like this. Yeah, you're in a different state than your family. Everyone is busy. His boyfriend is out of town. I was like, Just come over. I'll be sad if I know you're just like sitting alone in your house."
Especially since you'll be done by like 4 because your thing's starting at 2.
That's exactly what I told him. I was like, "We will be home, and I'll bring you leftovers."
You're a good friend.
Right. I'm momming it up this weekend, or sort of. I keep thinking today is Friday, so I get like 2 weekends.
I know. It's super nice. I asked one of my jobs, I was like, "So do you actually need me to come in on Friday?" And they were like, "No." Also,
Absolutely not.
I went into work expecting to work a full day today. And I was like, "Hey, I know I said I could work a full day, but like if you don't need me, don't keep me just cuz like I don't I'm not somebody who's like desperate for hours and like I have a lot to do." And so I
I have a lot to do.
well, I'm really straightforward. I'm like, I'm fine to be here the whole time because I said I would, but if you don't need me, don't keep me. Like,
Yeah.
I'm saving you money, I'm saving me a headache, like and I got to the preschool, and by the time 9 o'clock rolled around, there was 4 teachers to 5 children in this
Oh.
one classroom, and all the other classrooms were like that, and I was like, "Yeah, I'm going home. I've been here for, like, an hour and a half, and I'm going home."
Yeah, you texted me you were free after 11, and I was like, "Oh, I nope, I am not free at 11."
Well, I forgot that you work, like, a retail-y
Yeah.
esque thing, so you're preparing for Black Friday, but I thought, like, on the off chance that she's free, we could do this whole thing now.
Yeah. No, yeah, because my office is e-commerce adjacent. This is like the busiest couple of days of the year for us. And but for some reason my office approved like everyone to take time off. And so there was like nobody there today. And so it was just me like busting ass for like about 8 hours. And then finally I was like, you know what? I'm fucking out of here. I'm done. I'm going home. Like I don't care anymore. It's hard because I'm the last peg. Like I'm the last person that sees things before they go live. I'm the last person who can like make changes to thing basically. And so it's like I understand why I'm the one here doing this, but also like fuck you guys. I don't get paid enough for this.
That's so ridiculous. I came home and was like, "I have so much to do because 'cause I'm hosting tomorrow, I have to clean," and so I started putting away all my costumes from TeslaCon this
Oh yeah,
weekend.
we went to TeslaCon this weekend.
Yeah, so I was putting away my costumes, and then I had, like, a weird freak out, and I took everything out of my burlesque costume or my burlesque closet, and I totally reorganized the whole thing. It took me, like, most of the day.
Oh my god.
I had, like, a
That's not a small closet.
no. and I have a lot of
Oh.
costumes, and they were not organized. So I had, like, a weird meltdown, but I at least it was a productive meltdown.
Yeah, that's good. That's what happens when I get really upset. Michael says he likes it when I get mad because he's like, I like it because you just clean the house in fury." I'm like, "Yeah, I totally do."
Yeah, I'm like that too. But yeah, I went to TeslaCon this weekend. To be honest, like I wasn't looking forward to it because it was another thing on my to-do list, but I knew this was going to happen because it always does. As soon as I got there, I had a blast. Like it's the one time a year I get to indulge in my weird steampunk stuff. I have all these pretty fancy costumes. I have a character that I love to play. The patrons really like it. Like, I think we've talked before, but like my character has a trigger word that like sends me off into like hysterics, and all the patrons use it, and it's really fun. Except for in the morning when they like say the word Paris, and I'm like, you guys, I'm so tired right now. Can you just give me like an hour? And I'll just like casually whine. I'll be like, oh, I'm so sad, and then just walk away. Like, oh, it's too early for this. But it was really fun, and like I got 2, like, big scenes that went really well. One of my scenes was, like, there was, like, this battle, whatever. It's, like, a big weird steampunk LARP. It's hard to explain, um, or not if you just think about old white people in corsets pretending. That's kinda what it is.
I was gonna say steampunk LARP sounds like the absolute perfect explanation for what it is actually.
So there is, like, this battle thing that happened because it was, like, the Battle of Britain or whatever. I'm on the bad guy faction, obviously,
Abs
and we were having a panel called Licking Our Wounds, and so because the bad guys lost this battle, and 2 of us, me and, one of the other people in my faction, like, we were supposed to show up late to the panel and look really disheveled, like we got stuck in the battle, um, and we were sitting in the green room, like, it was just us because everybody else was doing stuff, and we knew we had to be late, and I was like, "Okay, we should probably get disheveled," and, like, we disheveled ourselves and then looked at each other and we're like, "It totally just looks like we had sex." And 100 it does not look like we got stuck in a battle. It looks like we were showing up late because we were fucking in a closet. But but, I mean, nobody thought that actually because like, we burst into the room, and I was like, "Oh my god, we got caught in the battle, oh," and started crying, and I threw myself on the ground and started crying while wearing a beret.
It's funny because I feel like the pictures of you at TeslaCon are always like, "Oh, this is Stella in her truest form."
Just screaming and crying in a corset.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, kinda.
Yeah,
It's not wrong.
I
But
know.
it was interesting because it was Takeover Survivor Series weekend too, so I
Yeah.
had to miss one of our big panels because I was like, "I have to work," so me and another friend were in the hotel room watching Takeover. Like, we took off all of our weird corset stuff and put on our pajamas, watched Takeover, then as soon as we were done, we, like, suited back up and, like, went down to the ball. And, like, my friend, because there was a break during the day, so I was in my full steampunk thing and I had my beret on and stuff, but I put my glasses on, I brought my computer down to the cafe in the hotel, and I had to be in the cafe because the internet wasn't working upstairs because I had an article to write for Cage Side. So I was, like, in my beret, but in my full, like, corset and bustle with my glasses on, like, tip-tapping away at my computer while drinking coffee, and my friend came up and he was like, "This, like, hipster steampunk thing you have going on is very good." And I was like, "Man, part of me wants to ask somebody to take a picture of me doing this, but also I don't wanna be that guy that's like, 'I look really funny. Can you take a picture?'"
I'm doing it for the gram.
But I did get my article done on time, and it had a hilarious headline, so thank you so much.
Which article?
I had to talk about the Bar versus AOP and break down the match,
Mhm.
before it happened, and obviously it meant nothing. I
Yeah.
didn't predict that Drake Maverick would piss himself, but, like, I don't think anybody predicted that. But I was like, "Nobody's gonna really care about this article because nobody cares about this match, so I'm gonna put all of my effort into the headline," and the headline was, "2 authors walk into a bar."
That
Nailed
is
it.
good.
It wasn't Drake Maverick pisses himself,
Probably
SmackDown
would would
loses, nobody cares.
I mean, you probably would have gotten equal clicks on that, I'm not gonna lie.
I can't believe I'm so torn about it because Rockstar Spud is so good at the comedy stuff, but he has done 0% comedy since being in WWE, so it just feels like such a hard like right turn. And
Yeah.
it's not that I disagree with it because he is so good with it, but funny Drake Maverick who pees himself, the manager of 205 Live, a pretty serious show, and also AOP who are not funny. I
No,
don't
not at all. And their previous manager was not funny, like, even remotely.
I do not get it.
Yeah, I don't really get it. I saw so many. I I'm not watching because I'm boycotting, obviously, but I also like just happened to not be online because I had plans, and so I came back at like 10 o'clock at night, and there's just all of these photos of Drake Maverick pissing himself, and I was like, well, this obviously isn't real because there's no way he would actually post like when Darren Young shit his pants in the ring. He wasn't like, hey everyone, guess what happened? Because it is bad. Like you shouldn't be doing that. So I was like, Stella will explain this to me later why this happened.
Yeah, he was so scared because the Big Show he was trying to, like, distract Sheamus and Cesaro, and then the Big Show came over to him and, like, grabbed him by the throat and essentially choked him until he peed himself. But then AOP won, so, like, it worked, I guess.
It's so bizarre.
Yeah,
I
it's
pissed
ridiculous.
myself, but they won, so it's cool.
The next night on Raw, the crowd was chanting AOPP.
Oh my god.
And and then they lost. They didn't lose
What?
they didn't lose the tag belts because it wasn't a match, but they AOP got pinned by Chad and Gable because essentially Chad and Gable and everybody was making fun of Drake
Wait,
Maverick.
Chad and Gable?
Yeah, you know what I mean. Bobby and Gable.
Oh, that's right, he's with Bobby. I was like, I know he's not with Jason Jordan because he probably can't wrestle anymore. Who is he with again?
I now recall that I used to call Jason Jordan and Chad Gable Chad and Gable as well.
Right. I was like, I need a little more information. Okay, yes, Chad and Gable. Gotcha.
So there was like an earlier scene where they were like all at craft services and Delilah Doom was in the background.
I
Um,
heard that she was on Raw this week. I'm so happy. That's so good.
I
Good
would
for
have
her.
preferred if she was like wrestling, even if it was jobbing, instead of just like eating turkey and laughing. But like that was also fine. It was just
Well,
nice that she
like
was there.
there was I want to say I think it was last Thanksgiving actually. Jordan Grace was on in one of those like backstage roles as well. And we sort of said the same thing at the time like I wish that she had been wrestling, but it put so many eyes on her that like now she's at the level that she is and was one of the only women in All In that wasn't in that four women's match. Like part of that is because people see her face on Raw and like that's a really good opportunity for Delilah too, even if she wasn't wrestling.
Yeah.
'Cause people will be
Um,
like, "Who's that cute ass girl? Imma look her up," and then she gets shit, and, like, I like that, I think that's good.
and they look her up and realize that she's so fucking good.
Yes.
But anyway, so Drake Maverick essentially was like, I'm gonna get my big monsters to beat you up in the ring, but then Bobby and Gable won. So it was like, what is
So,
happening?
I mean, good. I really like Chad Gable, and I like Bobby Roode in this weird, like, funny guy role. I don't know why, it's not what I would have ever pictured him or booked him as myself, but, like, he and Gable seem like a great team, and seem really fun, seem to be having fun.
Yeah, I mean, it's fine. It's just, Drake Maverick pissed himself. Anyways, bringing it around, you did mention that you were boycotting, and
Mhm.
we wanted to talk about that a little bit on the podcast before we get into takeover and the women's segments this week. But the floor is yours.
So I am boycotting WWE. That's because directly of their involvement with the Saudi Arabia government, and man, I could just go on for days about how fucked up that shit is. But like that is the crux of it: is that they are willfully and gleefully participating in sanitizing the image of a government who is torturing and murdering people and does it without any kind of like even batting an eye, it feels like, which is really fucked up. Also, can I ask you a question real quick, Stella? Did Stephanie McMahon actually fucking make a joke about that this week? Someone said that, and I was like, I'm not gonna go look at this, but I heard that she made a joke that was like she was talking to Braun and was like, I've been told that dismemberment is a corporate liability. Did that actually happen?
So I was watching, as I do, but while I'm watching, I'm also tweeting. And
Mhm,
so sometimes my attention is split. And I did not hear that line.
mhm.
So
Okay.
I didn't have that gut reaction. But I mean, I assume that she actually said it. Like, Um,
Okay. It made me, I don't know if literally is the right word, but almost literally blind with rage. I was so angry when I heard that. And it kind of like really made me dig in about this too, where it was like, that is the most fucked up shit I've ever heard. If you don't know, Jamal Khashoggi was dismembered alive by the Saudi Arabia government. And then WWE was like, hey, cool, we'll run a bunch of propaganda for you and have a show where you can sit in the front row. Thanks for the money, I guess. So that is fucked up on like a whole different level that they think that that's even remotely appropriate to joke about. So the way that this boycott has been working for me, and we were talking off air about this, this is for sure the hardest boycott I've ever done. Like I've boycotted stuff before. We talked about this on the show a couple of times, but like this part of wrestling is so intertwined in my life that I've had to like really, really carefully think about what a boycott actually means to me. And so the thing that I've come down to is that I don't want to give WWE as a company directly money or impressions, because impressions are the things that they use in their shareholder meetings to like demonstrate that they're doing well as a company. So I've canceled my WWE network. I'm not watching Raw or SmackDown live. I'm not participating in any of their hashtags. I'm trying not to engage with the hashtags when things are live, but I do make exceptions for that, like the cage side account, because I know that that's some like you are also judged by that, and so that's something like I'm more willing to engage with that. I'm more willing to engage with like L Collins account because it's that same idea of like I know that their job kind of depends on that interaction too. So I'm willing to be a little elastic about hashtags and like social media impressions in those instances. Um, I'm not buying any merch that's sold directly through WWE. I haven't really decided about companies that are like like Hot Topic if I should like if I can buy through that. That's something I'm still trying to figure out, but like that's like those are the things that I'm trying to figure out. I feel like there was another one too. Oh, I'm not using anyone else's login to watch it because those are also in like unique impressions, and that's like shareholder data, and so that's where I'm kind of drawing my line. But like I said, this it's hard. It's hard to figure out how to do this, and I'm also making a personal exception that if my friends are watching WWE in some kind of context, that I'm not gonna leave because my interaction with my friends is more important to me than sticking it to the man. And so I'm willing to go to parties and stuff where it's on, and I'm willing to like even go to like maybe a Mania party because I want to hang out with my friends. But outside of that, I really want to be careful about like I watched the Flair Rousey match because Stella asked me to for this, and because I were like kind of resorting the focus of our show to be LOL more women focused, as it we've said like 37 times over the course of the show we're gonna do this, but this is like something we're seriously talking about and how it fits into this boycott. And like I have back channels to watch stuff that doesn't give them impressions, and so I'm like making a lot more work for myself and purposefully going around and making things a little harder so that I'm not giving them impressions. I'm not watching any of their YouTube videos. I'm trying not to like engage with any of that online presence. I've like muted and unfollowed all of the WWE accounts, but I'm still following a lot of the wrestlers because I know that they monitor that kind of interaction as well. And I know that that kind of stuff is important to their careers. And I'm trying to like buy the things that they endorse outside of WWE, like Paige's lipstick, and Finn Balor has like a workout apparel line, and things like that, like and like Bella Radici and Birdie B and things like that. Like I think that that is going to be the main focus for me, and how to like I want to pay attention to these people. I still want to talk about them, and I think they deserve that cultural currency. But how do you separate that from the monolith that is WWE? So that's kind of what it looks like for me. It's complicated and it's really messy, but like I'm trying really hard to be intentional about how and why I'm doing things.
yeah, and I think clarifying it, I know it was helpful for you to clarify for me, but clarifying
Yeah.
it for the listeners, I think is important too. So essentially, this is our last like full podcast for the year. We are gonna have some little we're gonna have some little like 10-minute ish things that will go up in December.
Mhm.
like we did last year, but we'll be back in January and we'll still have Patreon stuff.
Mhm.
But we'll be back in
Yeah, come
January.
subscribe to our Patreon, then you'll get other stuff.
Yeah, for sure.
It's a perfect
And
time.
we'll be back in January with our regular podcast, but our regular podcast is going to really shift dramatically and be we're it's probably going to be shorter, which will be good for you and good for us, but it's just going to be us talking about women's wrestling. And so we'll still talk about the WWE stuff. I will watch all of it. Aaron will watch the things that I'm like, hey, this is really bad. You should watch it. Or this is really good. You should watch it. You know, if it's a random 6 woman tag that was trash and means nothing, like I'll take the bullet and just talk about it. And I mean, it's not a really big deal. We are going to focus more on the knockouts. So, and hope, and maybe, we'll bring in some other women's wrestling, but it's really just going to be a women's wrestling podcast. Sure, I'll mention like a Dean Ambrose thing here or a Drew McIntyre thing here. Uh we may still call pay-per-views and mine will be an informed guess and Aaron's will be a wild
Wild guess.
a wild guess. But we'll see. We're just going to take a break, focus on ourselves, and then we'll come back in the new year and just kind of figure everything out. It's
Yeah.
gonna be an experience for everyone involved. But the good news is that like the women's wrestling is the most important part, right? Like that's why I still watch wrestling the way that I
Yeah.
do. Like, yeah, I love Drew McIntyre and I do love men's wrestling. But honestly, if it weren't for women's wrestling, I wouldn't be as invested in this sport as I am.
Yeah.
So having that focus and really just becoming a women's wrestling podcast. And like I said, maybe we can watch more Shimmer, more. I mean, though I feel like we're pretty current on Shimmer, but like,
Yeah, that's true.
I
I did
hear
watch some Pro Wrestling Eve, this last weekend and really enjoyed it. I really liked it. It's, like, grungy in a way that it reminded me of Early Progress, only it didn't immediately turn me off. So I was like, "Ooh, this must be good."
I literally was just about to say I hear Pro Wrestling Eve is really good before you said that. So like
Ah!
there's that. um yeah, and like if we do every Mania ever, me and Aaron are gonna watch it together so that the WWE network is only getting one impression, but we
Mhm,
can still do the thing. So like we're working it out. So just be patient with us. But we still like doing this podcast and
mhm.
we'll do it until we hate it. And then we will abandon you completely.
Yeah, absolutely. Bye.
um, but it's
And
just
that
gonna
time is now. Goodbye. We'll just play some, like, music as we trail off.
later. That will be our final episode. We'll be like, "How are you? I'm great. This is the end of the podcast. Bye."
Bye.
So yeah, we're gonna take some time to figure some things out and enjoy the holidays, and then we'll be back. We are still gonna do 30 days of wrestling merch. We're just gonna try and make it really heavily focused on indie stuff, and hopefully we can get through 30
Mhm.
days of indie nonsense
Yeah,
in
absolutely.
January.
Yep. Yeah, we have a lot
S-
of stuff, so I feel like we can do it.
Speaking of merch, are you wearing any?
I am. I'm wearing it is an independent shirt, although it is someone who wrestles with WWE now. Do you wanna guess who it is?
Cassius? Oh no.
It is not, although that's a really good guess. It's Tommaso Ciampa. It's my blue Psycho Killer shirt, my basically one of my favorite wrestling shirts. I I was over at my friend Devin's house and we finished American Horror Story and then watched a bunch of Sabrina and he was like, "Hey, listen. I'm going to turn on War Games and you should not leave." And I was like, "Okay." That's part of why I've like come to the decision that hanging out with my friends is more important. So and our friend Andrew came over and so we drank 2 bottles of champagne and a 6-pack of cider and watched War Games and I had a great time. I really enjoyed it.
Yeah, I thought it was really fun. I just quick out of the way, I'm wearing my Burn It Down sweatpants. I was wearing my Boss sweatpants earlier, but then I was cleaning my house and I got, cleaning goo on them. So I changed into other sweatpants.
Your Burn It Down sweatpants are Virgin on Boss sweatpants. They're a pretty big fallback for you. I'm not saying they're banned yet, but they are around a lot.
I got 4 pairs of WWE sweatpants. I wear them a lot.
I know. That's why we might need to designate half of them unwearable on the pod.
I'll just lie and say I'm wearing the Nakamura ones.
I mean, that's fine.
Um,
I can't see you.
That's true, Google Hangout. So yeah, whatever. There's that. But yeah, I thought War Games was really fun, and I had a really fun experience watching it with a person who is a friend of mine, but who I don't, like, regularly hang out with. And
Oh,
we've
nice.
I don't think we've ever hung out one-on-one because it's like we're friends through friends. So it was really fun to, like, watch wrestling with, like, a new person and, like, hear their opinions and stuff. So I had a really good time watching War Games.
Yeah, I feel like this was a good social show. Like, sometimes there are shows where you watch with people and you're like, "I coulda watched this alone, who cares?" But, like, this felt like a really good like, the energy was up the whole time, and, like, Andrew watches WWE main roster stuff when he, like, comes over to my house and has, like, watched, like, SummerSlam and Mania with me before, but had never watched NXT and so, like, didn't know who any of these people were, and so it was really exciting to watch someone who's only familiar with the main roster product be like, "Wow, this is fucking cool." Like, yeah, it is. It is really cool.
We had somebody, because somebody had to come into the hotel room that we were watching in to get some, I don't know, dumb steampunk accoutrement or whatever. Our costumes are complicated, so we're always sharing bullshit. And they sat down and we're watching, and it was the uh Champa dream match. And we were kind of explaining, we are like, just watch for a second. She was like, I've never watched wrestling in my entire life. And we were like, that's a shame because your dad is British and you're from Canada, and those are fucking great places for
Oh my
wrestling.
god. Yeah, she should have it, like, built into her blood.
So she stayed and watched a little bit and was really into it and was like asking questions. And then she left to go get dressed for the ball. And then she came back and like watched more of it with us. And I was like, ah,
Oh,
yes.
that's great! Oh, that, like, warms my heart. I fucking love that.
And I was wearing my Nakamura sweatpants the next day, and they say strong style on the side. And she was like, oh, I know what that means now.
Ah! Oh, that's so exciting.
Yeah, so it was really fun. I think NXT is a good social pay-per-view because, like, I know some people who watched it alone and they were like, "This wasn't my favorite takeover." Like, there were some things I didn't like about it, and like, were a lot more like grumbly than I was. And I was like, I think because I was watching it, like the points
Mhm.
that you're making, I don't disagree with, but I think maybe because I was watching with somebody, I was like more excited about certain things.
Yeah. That it reminds me of that takeover EC3's first one where, we were at Dave's house where you had the title belt spoiled by you for you about,
Uh,
Drew McIntyre, like, there were, like, 9 of us there at that party, and it was so much fun because the matches were great, yes, but the energy of everyone being there and being like, "I don't know what's going on," or "I do know what's going on," or like, "I'm so excited about this," like, something about NXT just, like, whips people into a frenzy every time. All of the takeovers, even if they're not the best takeover, are just, like, fun as fuck.
Well, it just feels like there are stakes in a way that,
Yes.
like, Survivor Series is literally supposed to be a show about stakes, and Raw clean swept, but not really because SmackDown did get a win on the kickoff show. Clean swept SmackDown, and neither show, like, SmackDown didn't mention it like fucking once, except for Xavier Woods to be like, we did get that one win though. And like, they barely talked about it on Raw. And it was like, I thought this mattered. Oh, wait, it doesn't. It's WWE.
Yeah, exactly, and I heard too that maybe they were not actually supposed to win that tag match, that it had been, like, misproduced, and that's why they weren't including it on any of the records, which I mean, it was the right outcome. SmackDown should have won that match, but also, like, how do you how do you not know the finish to a match like that? Like, that just seems so bizarre to me.
Because the producer
Whatever.
was like, there's no way the B team's gonna beat the Usos, Insanity, and the New Day.
Yeah, that's I mean, that's what we said. We were like, "There's no way." The idea that they would yeah. Whatever. I've been saying, Vince McMahon, he's like, "It's clean sweep for Raw every year." It's been like 3 years in a row. Basically, ever since they did the brand split, he's like, "Raw is a dominant brand. Survivor Series shows us." Like, no, like you said, it doesn't fucking matter.
It's so stupid. Swinging back to Takeover,
Yes.
it was so it was such a smart way. I was like, "What match are they gonna open with?" Like, the 4 matches, like, War Games is obviously gonna close, and the other 3, like, are pretty high stakes matches. Like, it sucks, but I think the women's match is gonna open. Having Matt Riddle come out and have that, like, match is a stretch, but that moment
Wink.
with Cassius Ohno was, like, a good way to start it to make the other matches seem important and, like,
Yeah.
not just throw the women's match away at up top.
Yeah, absolutely. I totally agree. And like It made my soul really, really sad to watch Cassius Ohno just get like I really like they would have had a great match. They would have had like an actually really fucking good match, and I was really excited for that. But also, like, I'm really excited that they're like, Matt Riddle is strong. Matt Riddle knocks people the fuck out. Like, I think it was really smart to introduce him like this at a takeover, but that it's at the expense of Cassius Ohno makes me very sad. Like, on a level that I like don't really understand almost. It's like I loved him so much on the indies, and seeing him be so fully misused just makes my soul hurt.
Yeah, it sucks, but also, like, I feel like they can still have a good match later down the line, whether it's on an NXT
Yeah.
taping or whatever, because Cassius can be like, you caught me off guard. Now we can have a real match. So like
Yeah.
I mean, Matt Riddle will still probably win that, but I mean
Yeah.
that's Cassius's role on NXT, like
Yeah, and like I think that's part of
formidable jobber.
yeah, and obviously he wants to be doing that. He wouldn't have like he wouldn't have gone to NXT and stayed at NXT if he was like miserable. It does seem like he enjoys bringing in and bringing up new people into the system. Like he knows all of these guys and he seems like a really good gateway to that. It just makes me sad. And also he's been wrestling for 20 fucking years. Like I understand that his body can't do this forever, but I just like wish that it could.
Right? I loved the Kyrie Shayna match.
I did too. I really, really enjoyed it.
By far the best match in the series they've had, which is good. Like each match they have should be the best, and this
Mhm.
one should be the last one, in my opinion.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
It just like it felt like a fight. It felt like visceral.
Yes. I would agree with that. And I liked too that like I like Kyrie's like silliness, and I liked in the last match at Evolution when Shayna seemed very frustrated by Kyrie's silliness. It did not feel like Kyrie had silliness during this one. Like she did the walk the plank in this one and did the insane elbow, which she didn't do at Evolution, but it felt like it had more intensity and purpose. It didn't feel silly in the way that it has felt almost every other time she's done those things. Like I was excited to see her doing this, and I was excited to see her in this moment of like, I'm gonna beat the piss out of you. Like I can do that too. And so it felt when Shayna won at the end more appropriate. It felt like she earned it as opposed to she like snuck away with it, which could have happened. Like she had interference and it still felt like she earned it.
Yeah, and I think part of the thing with the interference too, it's like the horsewomen got involved, but they weren't the reason that Shayna
Yes.
won because it was a 2 out of 3 falls. Like they were the reason that she got a fall, but they weren't the reason that she won. And like, yeah, you can argue against that because they were distracting on the outside and whatever. But like Io was there and Dakota was there and there was a lot of chaos, so like you could blame them too. Like they weren't directly involved in it is what I'm saying.
Yeah, it felt more evenly balanced, the interference, and like it was awesome to see EO and Dakota out there. Like I don't know how exactly Dakota fits into that, but like I'm cool with it. I like it. I like
New
Dakota, but she
Zealand is close to Japan,
right, like yeah, sure,
so
I'm kind of anime cute as well.
they're closer than other states or other countries, so it
Yeah,
works.
exactly. And one half of Team Kick is out again, so she might as well join these two. Like I'm fine with that.
Yeah, I just really like Shayna a lot, and I just really do. Like, I think she busts her ass. I think she has a good character. The story that they've been telling, I just I don't think this was my favorite match of the night, but it's a fucking such a close second.
Yeah. And I agree about Shayna. Like I had my reservations about her in the beginning because WWE made the mistake of pinning her so closely to Ronda, which was to Shayna's detriment. Like it made Ronda look better because Shayna's cool, but it felt like you're only using this person as a stand-in until Ronda can go do these things. And now that Ronda's up and not great, like it's really nice to see Shayna and be like, you do actually bust your ass. And you can see from the difference from Mae Young last year to where she is now, like her character is more defined, her moveset is more defined. She was always really good in Shimmer, but it feels like she is elevated to like a completely different level now, and I'm like so fucking here for it.
Yeah, I agree. I absolutely agree. I'm interested to see the fallout, but I love this match.
Yeah.
The next match was my favorite match of the night, the Johnny versus Alistair match. I honestly, it was my favorite match for the dumbest reason, but the finish was so fucking cool that like it was a good match overall, and I really liked how they kept like missing each other, but then like one would run like they were going to jump over, and then the other one would move on the outside, and the other one would like course correct immediately, and like they always knew where each other were, like they were always tracking each other, and I thought that they told a really good story in ring. I think Johnny Gargano's not my favorite wrestler. I think he is a bit of a cartoon in a way that is not my favorite, and
Yeah.
I've
I and
always
I loved him on the indies too, and, like, I liked him with DIY because I thought the 2 of them balanced each other really well, but
right.
something about Johnny alone just isn't working for me. I kinda wish he was on the cruiserweight roster like he was supposed to be.
Yeah, Ciampa's always been the one that I've gravitated towards because it's just a little bit more believable or whatever. But I do still think that, oh my god, the finish of this match was just so fucking good. The like black mass, and then having Johnny lean his chest on to Alistair, and then Alistair picking him up and just being like, I absolve you of your sins. And another black mass. It was just like, I don't even care about anything else that happened. Like Alistair Black is back. He has a really cool outfit, and he did a double back black mass, and it was amazing. And I don't care about anything else. I love Alistair Black so much. I want to see him do this again. Also, like, God, the black mass is just so beautiful.
Yeah, and I also really like too that Alistair is he feels like the first time in a really long time that they've been able to have a character who truly does not need the belt. Like, he already had the belt and can do another run, but really doesn't have to. He has this, like, great character where he, like, grants people these things they really need, and that's a more compelling character to me without the belt. And like we said, when he had the belt, it felt weird. Like, it felt kind of inappropriate's not the right word, but, like, unsuited to him, and that he wasn't like a great champion because he didn't really fit into this role. And I think now it's because he truly and sincerely does not need that belt. Like, he granted Dream his name and now he's absolved Johnny of his sins. Like, I like this. I really like this idea of this character. Like, this is something that can run forever in the way that the Undertaker can run. And like, Alistair's fucking amazing, and I want to see him do that for literally as long as possible.
I agree. I'm just he's just like the best. He
Yeah.
can do anything. I love him so much.
And I didn't know him at all as Tommy End, and so this is like a totally new journey for me, and I love it.
Agreed. I had seen like 2 matches of him as Tommy End, and so like it's mostly just me truly liking Alistair Black.
Yeah, same.
The next match was Ciampa versus the Velveteen Dream, dressed up like Hollywood Hulk Hogan.
So good. I laughed so hard. We had to like
Ova.
we had to explain it to Andrew, first of all, who he was, and then what the joke was, and he was like, "Oh, Jesus." It's like, yeah,
Amazing.
there's a lot of layers here.
Ciampa and Velveteen Dream had like really surprisingly good chemistry, like
Totally agree.
wrestling chemistry.
Mhm. I absolutely agree. Their gimmicks seem so at odds with each other that it feels like they shouldn't have good chemistry, but like, man, Patrick Clark is fucking really good at wrestling. Like,
Yeah,
every single time he gets better. I love watching him wrestle. Like, I cannot believe he's only like 23 years old.
it's
That
ridiculous.
he's gonna wrestle for another 20 years, like straight up for another 20 years, and is just gonna get better and better. Like, he could legit be the next. Like, he could be better than Shawn Michaels because he gives a fuck in a way that Shawn Michaels didn't. Like, he truly is that good, and it is amazing to watch him change his style with all these people and take loss after loss and have it just not fucking matter. It's awesome. Like Bray Wyatt loses all the time in a way that's
Who?
like, yeah, exactly. The like, who the fuck is this dude who gives a shit? Dream never feels that way. Dream loses and then comes back and is like, I'm actually untouchable, and I love it. I just I think he's one of the people that I've come around the hardest on, but it's because he just works his fucking ass off, and I love that. I think it's great.
He's smart. He's like wrestling smart in a way that I didn't
Yes.
anticipate, especially on his like when he first debuted the Prince gimmick. I was like, this is dumb. This is wrestling dumb. And now it's like, oh no, you're fucking kind of a genius.
And I think part of it is that he actually listens and like because when that Prince gimmick started, there were so many people who were like, "You're fundamentally misunderstanding Prince." And I think that he listened because now it feels like a real Prince gimmick, only he's taken that and like pushed it into this new thing that he's made on his own. And like that's part of learning how to take feedback. Like you can't take a character that was that shitty and make it this good without knowing how to accept and understand and process and work through feedback. Like that that makes great anything, honestly. Like that's what makes people good at things is that they learn how to do that. And like that shit's hard. It's super hard to hear like this is bad, you're bad at this, you need to fix a lot and then do it. Like I totally have respect and admiration for that. And like again, the fact that he's only like 23 and can do this and has that level of wrestling smart like you were saying is just incredible.
Agreed. The match, Ciampa obviously was great. Like Ciampa is great. We've liked him for a really long time. Like
Mhm.
we're, indie like
The
fangirls
fucking
of
smarts.
him.
Yeah.
I thought this match was really, really good. They really played off each other. The ending felt like a little off to me because there were so many times when I was like, this should be a DQ. Well, that should be a DQ. What's happening? Because this should be a DQ. What is happening?
Yeah. Yeah, they got real fast and loose with the rules at the end. And I was like, ah, okay.
Yeah. And then there were moments where I was like, is this shoot? Is this work? I don't know. But I mean, Ciampa should have retained. It's a good thing that because he is still embroiled in the Aleister Black, Johnny Gargano thing. Like that has to wrap up with him in it too. You can't just give the title to Dream.
I mean, you could and have that be resolved outside of the title, but like, I also don't think it honestly matters at all. I
Right.
feel like you could have put the title on Dream and he's good enough that he could have held it and then just like given it up and moved to the main roster immediately, basically. Like that would have been fine with me. But also having Champa keep this belt for now, like I'm not gonna complain about that. I'm also very happy about that. So like either way it was kind of a win-win for me.
I feel like the belt, maybe it's just because Ciampa's named it, but I just feel like it's an integral part of this three-way story that they're telling. So that's
Yes.
why I feel that way. Though I do think that Dream should get the title sooner rather than later.
Yeah, I feel like Dream is good enough that I want to see him wrestle a bunch of people at NXT, but also like fucking strap a rocket to him. He's so good. And WWE hasn't had like a black champion in a fucking long time and like he could do it. I'm not saying he should be doing it right now as their main champion, but like you got to put him on the main roster and watch if he sinks or swims. Like he is ready for that challenge if nothing else.
Yeah, for sure. And so the final match was War Games. So it was Pete
Yes.
Dunne and Ricochet and the War Raiders versus Undisputed Era. My overall thoughts are that this had a lot of cool spots in it, but
Yes.
overall, War Games is a dumb gimmick, and I don't actually care about it.
Yeah, it's bizarre. I feel like the rule is that if you leave, your team gets disqualified. Why do people climb the cage? Like it seems very not intuitive. And also I feel like I thought at first it was a better idea to have two teams as opposed to the three that they had last year. I think it actually is a better idea to have three teams. It
I agree.
feels it feels weird when it was just 4 on 4. It was like, okay, this is just like a big ring and a fancy steel cage. Like,
It needed more
okay.
chaos, which sounds ridiculous because there was a lot going on, but it needed more chaos.
Yeah, it was like they had because Alexander Wolf got so fucked up last year and they had to like literally shut one of the rings down because he was like hemorrhaging blood all over it. I feel
More
like
head
they went from
staples.
that. Yeah, they were like, well, we can't do that. So let's scale it way, way, way back. And it's like, okay, well, maybe we should have found like a middle ground somewhere in the middle of this. And I thought they did a really good job with the storytelling with Pete Dunne. I thought that that was good and I really enjoyed it. But I also felt like I thought that they made a really big error when Pete Dunne was left at the end, and it was the other War Raider. I cannot remember what their names are. But when he comes out, like Killian Dane last year was the fourth person out, and so he like, or the third person out for his team, so he like throws all the shit in, and you know all that's coming. And so I felt like the War Raider guy should have Hanson should have thrown more stuff in as like an anticipation of like, oh, maybe they'll fuck with us. We should be prepared for this. And then when Pete Dunne got locked in the cage, I don't understand why Undisputed Era didn't throw more shit in and make that chaos themselves. It felt like the booking kind of hinged on the fact that Pete Dunne was definitely going to get there, which took away from the action that could have benefited from that chaos. And I thought that was a really strange choice. Like, it felt like it wasn't everything about NXT is so developed in so many ways, even though it is a developmental league. It felt like such a strange lapse in the way that it was booked that it like really stood out to me.
Hanson was in there first. Hanson's the bigger one.
Hanson's the one that's engaged to Sarah
No,
Logan?
that's Rowe.
He was the
Rowe
first one
is
to come out? I thought
Hanson
Rowe was
was
the first one to come out.
no.
Are you
No.
sure?
I'm pretty sure.
I really thought Rowe was the first one to come out.
It doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter. It truly does not matter. Either way, no matter which one it was, I felt like it was a strange choice that they like didn't book that further and like actually think about that booking. It just felt strange.
Agreed. I mean, there were cool spots. Like, obviously, Ricochet doing his millions of flips off the top of the cage was super dope, but also, like, one move does not a match make.
Yeah. Yes, I agree.
All right. Well, that was that. Let's talk about the Survivor Series match between Ronda Rousey and Charlotte Flair. I want to hear your take before I talk.
Okay, hold on. Give me 1 second. Michael just walked in the door, so
No worries.
what? 1 second. We just talked about War Games, and then we're gonna talk about Ronda Rousey, and then yeah. Here, let me move to the other room. I can Peter's church. Sorry, Stella. I gotta relocate.
No worries.
Oof. Oh Jesus. Oh no. Oh god. Into the bedroom. Excuse me. Actually, Stella, I'm gonna use the bathroom because I'm standing up. I will be right back.
No worries.
Enthusiastic about bedtime. Who's in there? Whoops. Oops.
Okay, I'm back.
Okay.
All right. Okay, so I watched the match. Okay, so Stella told me that she's told me that I had to watch this match, and I asked her if it was good. I asked her, did Ronda do a good job? And she kind of was like, the whole match was great. I was like, okay. And so I put the match on thinking like, that means Ronda did good wrestling in this. And maybe that was just like the way that I interpreted what you said to me, but I was like expecting Ronda's wrestling to be a lot. And like, I saw a bunch of people talking about how good this match was, and I was like, okay, I'm like, my hopes are high. I'm like gonna go into this with a super open mind. I understand that I really don't like Ronda, and it is hard for me to objectively watch her matches, but I'm gonna try. I'm gonna try. I'm gonna like. I spent a lot of this match going, if this was someone else, how would you feel about this? Which was helpful. Uh, but also like, I got really far into this match and was like, am I watching something different than everyone else watched? Because this sucks. There were
Oh,
many parts that
no.
I was like, "Oh no. Oh geez." There were there are a lot of things I really liked about it. There are a lot of individual pieces, but like everyone had said that it was so good that I was like, I feel like I'm fundamentally missing something. And then the attack happened and I was like, "Oh." And so by the time I got to the end of the very end after Rhonda leaves, like that was when I stopped watching. I was like, I get it. I totally understand why people really liked this. I understand why everyone was like really hyped for it. And like, I would recommend this match to people, even though a lot of the wrestling I didn't particularly enjoy. Like, there are, I will say, Ronda only pulled at her clothes twice, once at the very beginning and the very end of the match. I was like, and I thought about it at the end, was like, this did not distract me. Either she's gotten better at it or Kevin Dunn has gotten better at not having people show her while she's doing that, which is, whatever. Either way, that's good. I like prefer that. And I feel like I like that it was, there are things about the fact that it was chaotic that I really liked. And I feel like if it had been many other people, I would have really liked the fact that it felt so like chaotic and frenetic at the beginning, but it didn't feel I don't know what the right word I'm looking for is, but like it didn't feel intentional. It felt like this is a shit show. Like this is insane, and they're just doing fucking everything. And there were many times where I was like, Charlotte is full ass flipping herself over, and Ronda is just hanging on to her. And there were a couple times towards the end where like Charlotte was tired, and Ronda threw her in ways where I was like, she's gonna fucking break her neck. When she did that Piper's Pit on her, I was like, she's gonna actually murder her. It was like watching someone take a bad Styles Clash or like a bad Muscle Buster, where it was like, oh my god, oh my god, she's gonna kill her. And so and that fucking top turnbuckle horseshit disaster. I was the fact that Michael Cole was like, "What is Ronda Rousey doing?" I was like, that. If Michael Cole is saying that, I feel like that's not a great sign. And it was one of the first times I was like, is this what it's supposed to look like when someone is like stuck in the turnbuckle? But she wasn't. I was like, I almost would have preferred if you were actually stuck. Like, it was just, there were so many pieces of that I was like, I'm so confused about why these choices are being made. But the beatdown was so fucking good. It was so good. It was so satisfying to watch her get her ass whipped. And like, it was really satisfying to see her fucking covered in like kendo stick bruises. That was one of those moments where I was like, this bitch is doing it. Like, there are not a lot of things I respect about Ronda Rousey. I don't think she's very good. I think her promos are garbage. I think that she's a disgusting turf in many ways, and on and on and on and on why I don't like her. But she will take a beating, and I like that. I think that that's fucking great. I think that that shows a commitment, at least, even if she's not great at this, that she's committed to it. I'm like, I'm looking for every ray of sunshine I can about this situation because I know that she's not going anywhere. And so that's part of this too, is it's like, I'm really glad that I'm boycotting so that I like don't have to be hype about Ronda, but also, like, it makes me mad that they want me to be hyper about Ronda because by the time I got to the end of this, it was like, you're not the good guy. That was the other thing I took from it. Like, the whole crowd booed her. I was shocked. I could not believe. Like, we were at Evolution where it was like, oh, okay, maybe we just need to accept it. Like, she's over in a way that just doesn't work for us. But it was like, damn, they chanted, "You deserve it" at her. Like, wow, they just did that at Charlotte because of Becky, and like that felt so true, and this did too in a way that was like not like Charlotte was not supposed to be intentional. This did not feel intentional, and Ronda looked for real upset about it, which was weird. Like she's walking up the ramp and like telling people like, "Don't touch me, don't come anywhere near me," and then one of the fans on the ramp started yelling, "We want Becky, we want the man," and she just stopped and looked at him and in the most like pouty, childish voice I've ever heard said, "You're not a man. You're not a real man. You're not a real man." And I was like, wow, her feelings are actually hurt. And then to watch people boo her, it was like, are they gonna do it? Are they actually gonna turn her heel, or is she gonna come back and be this stupid baby face still? I'm like, I don't know. I'm not watching Raw. I assume that they just made her a babyface again. And it's like, how can you watch this kind of shit and be like, yeah, this is going perfectly? Like, it doesn't seem like it's going perfectly. So, I don't know. As an overall product, I've really enjoyed it. I'm really glad that you told me to watch this. And like I said, I would recommend it to people. but not because of the wrestling. Like, the storyline and the beatdown they were the best parts.
But I think that's the thing that we have to get used to with Ronda Rousey is that it's not actually about the wrestling. Yeah, they can talk about how she's the baddest bitch, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
But it's like, it's not ever, and it's not ever, but like, it's not about the wrestling. Cause like, I was watching it too, and I was like, I'm emotionally wrapped up in this because I think that frenetic energy and like, it felt like a sloppy fight, but it felt like a fight, not like for me, it felt like a
Yeah.
sloppy fight and not a sloppy wrestling match, even though like obviously those two go hand in hand, but it felt like a fight. There's like a lot of animosity that I
Mhm.
could feel. And so like I didn't not enjoy the wrestling, but I obviously acknowledged the shortcomings. And like I said to Nick several times, I was just like, yeah, Charlotte is just like throwing herself. Charlotte is doing all of the work in this match. And like Charlotte is doing a good job making Ronda Rousey look passable. And I feel like to somebody that's not me or you, or like somebody who is like a smart eye or whatever, like to an outside perspective, like that probably looked like she was doing a really good job. And she wasn't doing a bad job. I wouldn't say that's like the worst thing in the world. There was like an energy to it and a commitment to it that made it
Yeah, for sure.
good. And I think that's the thing about Rhonda, right? Like and you even brought it up, like her weird commitment to wrestling and her clear desire for it, like regardless of her being like a shitty person. And like it's hard for me to separate myself from it too, but like I'm trying to, because like you said, like she's not going anywhere. I'm not going to buy her merch. I'm not going to chant her name, but like I don't want to hate everything I'm watching all the time. And so I like I'm trying to look for good things. And I think like she does understand that, or just by nature of who she is, like there is that emotional thing and that storytelling side of it that's there. It's just that the wrestling's not there. But then if you put her in a ring with somebody like Charlotte can carry a match, like, and she did for the most
Mhm.
part. And yeah, there was that turnbuckle nonsense. And like, Ronda, I think Ronda's problem is, especially in those situations, is like overselling. And I think that turnbuckle was like a lot of weird overselling. And it was like, you're not stuck,
Yeah.
weirdo.
And it's weird too, because I feel like the things that she makes the decision to sell about are things that I, like, don't understand the thinking behind. Like, they kept talking about how Charlotte was going on her leg, and then all of a sudden she was like, "Scoop, scoop, scoop, I'm up the turnbuckle." It was like it reminded me a little bit of, like, old school Nikki Bella, where someone would punch her in, like, the right arm, and then she would, like, try to sell the left one, where it was like, "Okay, you gotta you gotta be ring smart here and remember which limb they're working," and it was like, Ronda doesn't think about that. She doesn't have that ring intelligence yet of, like, "You're attacking my leg, and I have to now focus I have to do all of the stuff I plan to do, but with a hurt leg," and, like, you can see that she's just not there yet. She just and I think you're right too. I think part of it is that we just like have an eye for this and like have been watching it for a long time and because we talk critically about it, that it's something that we look out for. And you're right that I think a lot of people would not notice that kind of stuff, but like the way that they talk about her as a wrestler makes me feel like you should know this. And I think part of it too is so many people saying she's so good, she's so intuitive, and it's like she's very demonstrably not. And so it's like frustrating to hear her described that way when it's like if you know how to look at that stuff and you know like very basic things she should be doing at this point, to see her not doing them is very frustrating. And to hear her lauded for doing so well at something she's not doing is especially frustrating. But you're right, like we gotta trudge through.
But I also think it's important to remember that when people say she's good at wrestling, pro wrestling is both of the things. It's not like everyone's
Yes.
saying she's technically the best wrestler or she's technically a good wrestler. She's a good pro wrestler. She's not a great wrestler, which is like a fine line, but it is a distinction.
Yeah,
Um,
it's like the difference between an indie wrestler and a sports entertainer. Like
yeah,
that's the comparison people make all the time. And it kind of feels like she's a really adequate sports entertainer. Like she could be a very good sports entertainer later, but like some of the most important things about it, like her promos and her in-ring work, aren't great yet. And like, yeah, she's only a year and a half into this, but should the
she's not
WWE
even a year and a
Women's
half into it.
Champion,
She's not like she
yeah,
debuted at Royal
well,
Rumble.
into like just into like training, I mean,
Oh, okay.
like as doing any kind of training in this. Uh but like the standard for the women's championship shouldn't be that. I think
Oh,
that
yeah.
that's also like important to keep in mind that like yeah, even if she is excelling and doing really well in these areas, like she should not be doing that with a belt. That's ridiculous. That's an
Agreed.
insult to everyone else on the roster who's already like put in this fucking work. And so I think that that's like the other thing is it's where it's I think that part of my animosity towards her is it's like I wish that I could just watch you do this work without having taken somebody else's spot. Like I think I would learn to enjoy it in a way where I could like separate from her shitty actual person and like enjoy the persona a little more if it wasn't like oh that's right you are actually this person because you're doing this shitty thing and like it is hard to separate those things sometimes.
No, I agree. And that's
Anyway.
kind of what Charlotte's promo was on Tuesday. She was like, I did this for Becky. I did this for the locker room. I did this for us. Because, like, essentially, she was like, because this bitch just walked in and she thinks that she runs the show. And I'm here to show her that she doesn't run the show. And I'm here to make her bow to the queen. And, like, essentially, like, it does really feel like they're trying to make Charlotte into what Becky was doing. But, like, Charlotte has such a history of being a heel that it works for me. And I loved it. I mean, it would have been
And
more
she's a really
satisfying.
fucking good heel. She should be a heel.
Agreed. And it would have been more satisfying, obviously, if that beatdown was from Becky because of like where Becky is right now. But it honestly, like there's enough precedent and it was just as satisfying from Charlotte for me.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. And like it'll be I mean Becky and Ronda could legitimately like headline Mania, which is
Yeah.
crazy. And
It'd
I
be
like
amazing.
don't want it to be Ronda, but also like fucking whatever. If it's Becky, I'm happy. Like I don't want her to lose at Mania, but also like what an incredible opportunity for her and like to go to somebody who has just been like sitting in the locker room for a year. Like I'm really happy for her.
Yeah, you were right about Ronda. They did just make her a babyface. She came out on Raw and was covered in candlestick bruises and was like grumbly, grumbly.
Do
And she was
it.
like, she essentially basically was like, but I'm showing up because like I may be hurt, but I'm showing up, insinuating that like Becky wasn't doing that, even though Becky is not being
Did that.
Ronda. Yeah, Becky did do that. And then they were like, you can't be out here. Like nobody told Ronda you can't be out here. So like it doesn't make sense. But then Ronda was like, a champ is only as good as they, is the champ's only as good if they can win on their worst day. And today's my worst day. So I'm issuing an open challenge. And then Baron Corbin came out and was like, I think Nat will be issuing an open challenge. And she was like, I think that I will kick your ass if you don't let me do an open challenge. And then he looked scared, rightfully so. And then Mickey James came out and got fed to Ronda. That's what happened. So they did just make her into like a weird baby face.
It's so weird. Like, are they gonna Roman her? Like, she's not a Roman.
Crowd was really mixed on Raw. They
I'm
weren't
like,
like full booing, but they weren't like cheering. It was more like they were like, whatever. You're not Charlotte or Becky, so we don't really care.
Ooh, that's worse. That's for sure worse. Like
it wasn't
any
like
any reaction is a reaction.
It wasn't silent, but it was like almost fucking silent for that whole match, which sucks because Mickey James rules.
Yeah, well, at least Mickey James has performed worse for worse audiences, and so this was probably like, well, whatever. Like,
sure.
I hate to say that that probably wasn't as terrible, and that's maybe why they put Mickey out there.
And then while Ronda was leaving, Nia and Tamina came out and like just stared at her and was like, and Nia just like looked at her fist and like laughed. So they're gonna fight at TLC.
How do you feel about this? How do you feel about this face breaker thing that they're trying to push? It's a pregnant pause.
Well, it was a pregnant pause because Nick was opening the door and trying to talk to me.
Oh, I was like, wow, you are deeply considering this.
But I am like it. It's a lemonade out of lemon situation. Like it was really fucked up that it happened. It did look like a receipt. Obviously, we don't actually know that. That's just like conjecture from watching a video. But I mean, shit happens and you have to make a storyline out of it. Like fucking Dean Ambrose is using Roman Reigns like leukemia in a storyline, which is not great, but he's bringing it up. So like, why can't they bring up a punch? Like, and they wanted to make Nia a heel, and it's like the easiest way to make her a heel. She just took out everyone's favorite wrestler on the planet right now. Like, what else? They either bench her or they use it as heat. Like that's it. And honestly, they don't have a lot
Yeah,
of
that's true, I guess.
women who are doing much right now. Even, Becky or, Sasha, Bailey, the Iconics, like, they're around, they're doing stuff, but it's not like they were actually in a storyline. So, like, they can't really bench her. They can't afford to lose Becky and bench her because she's number one contender. Like, they had to do this. And, like, marketing wise, it's smart.
Yeah, that's true. I guess that I hadn't thought about that they can't really afford to lose her in the lineup that they've created, especially if Alexa is actually hurt, which she appears to be since she's not really wrestling. Yeah, that's a really good point. Interesting.
And who know and, like, we
I
don't
was
know
talking
if
to
she's being punished, like, backstage. Like, we don't know. Like, they're like, "Look,
Yeah.
we're gonna, like, feed you to Rhonda in 3 weeks." Like, we don't know. So,
Yeah, that's true. That's a good point. Michael and I were talking about it too. He made a good point that when the Bree stuff happened, everyone in the locker room was very quick to be like, this is bullshit that people are saying these things about her. But that didn't really happen with Naya, and I didn't really notice that, but I feel like he's right. It's interesting to watch her like kind of be abandoned by her peers, and it makes me wonder a little bit about like she had that friendship with Alexa where all of a sudden they weren't friends and everyone kind of blamed Alexa for it. And it makes me wonder now maybe if it wasn't Alexa. And so it's weird that like this storyline, which I agree with you. I think it is good that they're using it for this heat in this way since they can't afford to lose her. It like sheds this weird light on this backstage dynamic that I was not expecting, and it like makes me feel differently about her because of the locker room's reaction to this. It's weird. It's just like a weird different layer to watching this I feel like it is definitely affecting my interaction with the storyline too.
yeah, I mean, the Brie one, regardless, was clearly an accident, right? Like, she didn't deliberately kick Liv in the
Yeah.
face. That was, like, a fucked up accident, but it was clearly an accident. But from the video, it's hard to tell if the Nia one is an accident, which I think colors some of the commentary in the locker room, but also online.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
One more women's wrestling thing that I want to mention. Taya and Tessa are definitely set for Homecoming at Impact, which is going to be really exciting.
Yes. Yes. Oh, it's going to be so good. I'm so excited.
Allie has officially gone dark side and is on like came out to like help Su Young and is like black eyes and like scary face paint. So I'm hoping
What?
they're using this as a gateway to get Rosemary back so Rosemary can come back and save her.
Yes. Oh my god. How long has Rosemary been out? It feels like a
Fucking
decade.
a long time. I hope we get something
So
from her
long.
at Homecoming, especially since we're going to be there.
Yes.
But yeah, so those are the two big things that are happening on Impact. Obviously, as you start to watch Impact more, we'll be able to talk a little bit more in depth. I'm excited for you to like actually watch Impact so you can understand what's going on when I say things.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and like I do occasionally watch things, and when you tell me things are good, I'll go back and watch them. But it'll be fun to like actually be up to date and things. It's funny because like Devin is not boycotting WWE. Obviously, I watch War Games at his house with him, but he like is being very supportive because he always comes over for wrestling. Like that's what we do is we like hang out and watch Raw or SmackDown. And he was like, "All right, I'm gonna get into Impact so that we can like watch this and like have this social time and we can like just put Impact in this place." And so he's been watching old Impact, and he when I was over there the other day, he was like, "I am watching this Drew Galloway promo, and I just
Yeah.
don't understand. How is he so pale? Why is he so little? What is going on?"
When he
So
was like
it's fun to
leading
like,
the
even though I'm not watching.
stand up.
Yes, it was from like February. Yeah, and it's interesting to be like, I've only watched a little of this, but I like kind of know because Stella tells me about it every week. So it's interesting to like have that perspective on it and like be able to explain it, even though we're both kind of watching it for the first time.
Also, there's a
It's
new tag
interesting.
team.
I'm enjoying it.
There's a new tag team that their gimmick is literally like that they're high. So perfect timing for you.
Perfect.
It's Zachary Wentz.
Perfect.
Zachary Wentz, Desmond Xavier, and then another person that I don't recognize. But they had like a filmed video of them sitting in a black room where through a haze of smoke, where they're just all laughing and saying weird shit to each other. They're called the Rascals.
Perfect. I'm in.
I mean, I like
Oh
Desmond
my
Xavier.
god! That's adorable, and yes, I love him. That's perfect. Cool. I'm in.
It's great. Any other
I
thoughts?
love it. That's perfect. No, I don't think so. I can't think of anything else other than that. I watched that Pro Wrestling Eve and really enjoyed it. I saw a bunch of people I'd never seen before, which I really liked. I didn't know that it was British. I guess I just like missed that. I don't know. I think part of it was like
That's so
Pro
funny
Wrestling
that you
Eve
didn't
like
know that.
interacts on Twitter a lot, and I was just like, I don't know. I just like didn't think about it. I was like, oh yeah, they're. I don't know. They could be anywhere. It like didn't occur to me that they were anything, and then I was like, oh, they're British. Okay, cool. I'm into this. So it's been fun to like watch that, and I'm excited to get more into it. I like their secret underground girl club shoe. Like I said, it's like early progress grungy, but it appeals to me. I like it. I think it's very weird that commentary is just like chilling at the top, leaning over a guardrail, but like part of that is also appealing. There are things I really like about it, so I'm like excited to watch more of it.
Excellent. I can't wait to watch them. Well, all right. Have a happy Thanksgiving.
Yes, you as well. You can find us on the internet. I'm at Urgency.
I'm at Stella_Cheeks. You can interact with us using the hashtag #NotYourDemoPod.
You can send us an email at notyourdemo@gmail.com.
There's a weird delay. That's what's happening. You can rate, review, and subscribe on
I was like,
iTunes.
why are you taking so long?
There's a delay. You can rate, reviews, and subscribe on iTunes, and you should go to our Patreon and subscribe at patreon.com/notyourdemopod, and you should buy our merch for everybody for Christmas at whatamaneuver.net.
Yes.
All right. Well, we got 2 words for you.
Happy Thanksgiving.
Gross. Spree mode.
Free mode.
I am very curious to hear, because this delay did not happen the whole time. I'm very curious to see how it affects the recording. It happened as soon as you moved into the bedroom.
Oh, weird. I didn't like notice it while we were talking.
I did. I can hear me in my headphones. I hear myself say something, and then there's a delay, and then it goes through the headphones, and I can hear it being relayed to you. So I know when you are hearing it.
Weird. That's very bizarre.
Okay, well, I will talk to you soon. And I hope you have a happy Thanksgiving. Tell Michael I said happy Thanksgiving.
Okay. Happy Thanksgiving. Tell Nick I said happy Thanksgiving. Good luck with everything. And text me when you're on your way on Sunday.
Okay. Bye.
Bye.